The YoloBox Extreme brings with it a whole host of new features and tools for live streamers and producers, and one that brings this device firmly in line with competing devices is Director Mode. When first booting up the Extreme, you are presented with the classic layout. If you've used YoloBox products before, you'll be right at home. So up here in the cog menu, you can go over, and at the top it says Classic Mode, and I will now change that to Director Mode. The biggest benefit of this is that you can have a larger screen version of your show in a full preview with a bigger screen and leaves an HDMI port free for the program. But if you don't want to utilize two different monitors, say one as a confidence monitor, you still have this fantastic interface on the YoloBox Extreme without the need for external monitors. You can absolutely use external monitors, but you can just get away with this. Honestly, it's what my brain has fought against with the Atem mini line for so long and has led to multiple HDMI splitters. I don't need those now. Inside of Director Mode, you'll have all of the functionality that you would have in Classic Mode. You can still go in and preset to bring in external sources. You can pull up a video from the SD card. And all of this is visible out on the multiview. The multiview itself is extremely customizable. The way I like to set up the multiview is a rather traditional preview, program, recording info, and then leave these two below for any additional sources. And this is what my multiview setup normally looks like. The output of these HDMI ports is independent of what you have set your streaming parameters or your recording parameters have. So you might have 4K sources and do a 4K internal recording, but your stream could still be in 1080p. This was given a major update in firmware version 1.8.8, which literally solved every headache I've ever had with the YoloBox HDMI outputs. On the YoloBox Pro and until this firmware version on the Extreme, it was limited to either 5997 or what the YoloBox interpreted the HDMI output source as, which caused no end of grief. It's all been fixed, and I genuinely can't complain at all. Even the dreaded "will this work with Atomos devices" has been fixed, as that's what I'm using to record the output of the screen here. The HDMI outputs have a caveat, in that if you are outputting 4K from one of the outputs, you can only output 1080p from the other output. This is to avoid any drop frames and overloading the CPU. The output of these HDMI ports is independent of your recording and streaming capabilities. So for example, here on the HDMI output 1, I'm able to select the frame rate that I want and change the resolution to what I want as well, which in this case is either 4K or 1080p. Probably easier to just show you how Director Mode works and how I would normally set up Director Mode. So into, as previously shown in the video, into Classic Mode and then hit Director Mode. Just come out of the settings there. So you've still got full access to all of your menu items that you would normally have. They're just now in this smaller space down the bottom, but the big thing is that you get this excellent program and preview monitor. It's absolutely fantastic. So I can queue up and then go preview to program, and I can queue up my next one and do more there. And then if I want to go back to there, and I can still do all of the normal overlays that I would do in this instance. Other overlays, I can bring on lower thirds. The YoloBox Extreme works in exactly the same way. It's just a very different interface. And that means much greater applications for me. For me, it's just, I don't need another monitor. I don't need to bring anything else. I have everything here that I need to in order to run my show as needed. So some other things to say is, like, you don't necessarily have to do the switch. You can cancel what your switch would be. and then you can change what your transition would be, whether it's just a cut or a fade or a wipe as normal, or you can do the lovely fade to black if you want to, which I will never do. So there's so much built into the YoloBox Extreme. It honestly makes it a joy to use now. And not that the previous generations of the YoloBox weren't a joy to use, but now just with this interface, I can really bring a full-scale live production without ever needing to think about bringing a laptop and that, or indeed a confidence monitor, because I know it's all here and it's all ready to go. So director mode is just phenomenal. And if you ever want to come back out of director mode, then you click the cog, select director mode, and you immediately go back to classic mode as you're used to. But in all honesty, this is a much better interface than classic mode. It just is. So, YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy this video next, and if you've made it this far, thank you for watching.